Hello, welcome to Reframing Mindset Podcast. We are clear my head of the thoughts that are preventing clarity and practice my speech, among other things. Episodes range from informative knowledge to funny stories about my experiences, and in the future, maybe include interviews. So subscribe and enjoy. Episodes drop every other day.
Okay, welcome back to Reframe Mindset Podcast. My name is Concept Brooks. I'm going to talk about perspective of the eyes. It's one of those things where, um, as I'm getting older, one thing is that my the ability to perceive opportunity is getting better. And in the sense, what that means is that I was always someone that is observant, but what I realize is that as you get older, you're able to observe key things to give you the best opportunities. So like for example, you you would able to perceive a thing that basically give you $1,000 a day. Then eventually boom, you find an opportunity where you can get $10,000 a day. Then what will happen is that because you reach that point of seeing that, you're not reach that level as yet, but you're able to see glimpses of those opportunities when they arise. And over time, what will happen is that will become a norm. Then eventually, that will basically be the only thing that you see. You're seeing, naturally only seeing um, 10,000 opportunities and such. And what will happen is that your perspective perspective have reached a new level. That's something that I realized where like you go to primary school, you graduated, and then when you reach high school, after a while, when you go back to primary school, those days that were so hard becomes easy, and you see the new kids going through those phases, struggling, and be like, oh my god, they can help them. Same thing when you go to university and then go back to high school, be like, oh my god, same thing again. Same thing as well in the real world. You have struggled in getting a job, then you get your first job, then all of a sudden you're able to compound and get a better job. And then after a while, getting a job is not hard. What happens is that is getting the right job for you based on your needs. That will be the harder part. Then eventually you're able to get the job that for your right needs there. Then other stuff will be then your ability to perceive jobs of that nature and say, okay, and able to decide whether the fact, okay, I can get that job as well, and stuff. You're able to decipher those stuff. And uh, so what I'm saying is that experience is as I get older, I understand the value of experience. But what I realize now is that experience does not only come in something that you see on paper through saying, okay, I have this experience at work or stuff like that. No, experience comes through the fact of your body changes and adjusts to a new reality because you have gone through that phase. You're able to see new things and see things differently. You're I'm seeing things now at the Bachelor of Science. When I just got a degree and start explaining stuff, it didn't make no sense to most of my friends and stuff like that because they did not value that. So my perspective are what my eyes is seeing. How everywhere I go, I always see this opportunity to do something to make myself get richer and stuff like that. But it was really hard to implement. and then I would say yes, I could do this, but I was poor about it. I could not really put that vision into reality. So what would happen is that I would say these stuff and it would sound crazy. It would sound crazy back then. But what happened is that they did not have the perspective of the eyes that I had back then because they did not went through the process to get the degree that I did and go through that process. I see the things that I saw. So the opportunities that I see, they don't see it because they don't have that level of perspective or perception as I do. So it's a similar thing with, for example, my grandmother, and so she has gone through years of experience and stuff like that. So in a certain sense, her eyes would be weaker than mine in the sense that she was wearing glasses and all those stuff. But she was able to perceive things of way greater wavelength that I could have realized see at my age. And I think one of the reasons would be is years and years of experience. She's not only seeing with her eyes is showing her years of experience. So she could see me, it's like it could be a thing where she could see me and see a vision of my future and be like, oh my God, that I need to actually do this thing to prepare him for this because you'll not be ready up for this. Those are stuff that comes with years of experience of seeing. And so it's like that's one of the things with perspective of the eyes. The more you take do risk and reach up and do things to reach a new level, your eyes start to see different things. That's another level of experience. And it could not be work. It could not be work. It don't have to be work experience. Your ability to see things just become naturally better if, for example, me being a degree person just basically do a couple stuff and you don't have any degree at all, but you're seeing my vision become to reality. You seeing the tangible stuff. Your eyes is becoming more able to see what I'm seeing, able to see what my degree can do, and then boom, you're able to perspective of your eyes just increase. You become a person that saying, okay, you're seeing your all these rambling and stuff that I usually speak about is crazy. Instead, now you're basically seeing some tangible stuff and be like, oh my god, now I actually can see it. So it's the same thing for example, my grandmother. She's an avid Christian and stuff like that. And most of her saying to the non-Christian would make no sense, would make no sense. But when part of the Bible is James, faith without work is dead. When she put in the work, and she are seeing the results, even if you're seeing that it makes no sense, what will happen is that you're seeing her results and be like, bro, regardless if it's crazy or not, you're seeing the results. So there's something in this thing that is valid. That's how faith is becoming a reality. That's our faith becoming a reality. And what will happen is that over time, as years goes by, she have experience raising kids. She have experience being and stuff like that. So raising me would be somewhat easier compared to the fact that she have gone through the process of raising eight of her own. So it's like those stuff where I realize that, yo, as your years go by, your eyes will be able to perceive different things. So you go through a lot of obstacles and stuff in life, but the older you get, those experience and you're less likely to actually go through those experiences because you know to avoid them. You know to avoid them because you say, yeah, that's another way I think humans have developed to maybe break cycles. Your eyes start to see threats, threats and opportunities. And one of my guests actually have an podcast episode about something about the eyes. I guess I actually could link that in the episode as well. But yeah, I don't think it actually relates directly to. I think in the same essence, it could be the mean the same thing. In the essence, it's the same thing that I'm saying, but now I'm actually understanding and seeing it in my reality, where I'm basically in the same place, but I'm actually getting better money opportunities. I'm actually in a better job that open me, that is actually getting me closer to my dream job. And so it's like those things will be like, oh my god, nothing, nothing basically. You see like nothing change, but in reality, a lot of things change. A lot of things change. I'm a whole lot more wiser, see more things more different, and that's it. The perspective of eyes is is something, bro. I mean, you have to see things way more differently. Yeah, and if I get older, I'll see things way more differently as well. And what will happen is that you're able to make way more critical moves. So, like for example, in your early 20s or stuff like that, you're basically saying you're trying to save every penny or stuff like that, or basically be like, okay, you're living on top ramen and all those cheap foods all this time because you're out there trying to save money. But now you're older, your eyes and experience to be like, yo, boom, I can do this and then make this back and then compound this opportunity this. So you're more risk averse because your eyes have gone through many you have gone through many phases of experiences. So your eyes, you can look at a certain meal and be like, okay, I can actually go through I've gone through many days where this is the best meal to make in this situation. So boom, I have this amount of money, boom, boom, boom. This is quicker. Usually you just spend your time thinking about that. Like, no, your eyes be like, okay, I know to go here, get this and that, and then boom, I have enough to serve me for a week. And that's what I need to actually reach the next level. Those are stuff that comes with experience and this perspective of the eye, you know. Yeah, so yeah, there's so many stuff is- about life that you learn as you get older. So many things. Yes, so that's basically it for this episode. Thank you for listening and look forward for the next episode. Hmm.
Well, this is the end of the episode. Thanks for watching and look forward for the next episode. To support this podcast, go to anchor.fm/cssb/support or become a sponsor for this episode. If you have a product that you want to have more exposure, DM me on the Instagram page, Reframing Mindset Podcast, or on Twitter at ReframingP. Either way would help. Thank you regardless for listening, and here's a preview for the next episode.